A book by a women's author that means something to me is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. The book is about after a relatively plausible catastrophic event, which I don't want to say because I don't want to give it away. Society changes, and for the protection of its citizens, it enacts these specific laws. And specifically for the protection of its female citizens, it becomes illegal for women to work or to own property. It becomes illegal for women to read. They're instead placed in these specific classes. And it's based on gender as well as social status. And so the narrator of the book is a woman who is a handmaid, which means her class is basically supposed to serve as breeders to the rest of society. And they are assigned to a family where their only function is to try and get pregnant and have children for that family. And then they get moved to another family. And they don't get to keep their names that they were given when they were born. And their name changes depending on the household that they move to. Her name is Offred, which is a combination of the words of and Fred, the man who's the head of the household where she's at. So we never find out her actual name, but she references a few times how she wished she could tell somebody her name or how she wants to be called her name. So here the narrator is talking about how she saved a pat of butter because they aren't given lotion or things like that. They have what they need to be comfortable and to live in some small piece of privacy, but they aren't given any extravagances. So she talks about saving the butter. As long as we do this, butter on our skin to keep it soft, we can believe that we will someday get out, that we will be touched again in love or desire. We have ceremonies of our own, private ones. The butter is greasy and it will go rancid and I will smell like old cheese, but at least it's organic, as they used to say. To such devices have we descended. Buttered, I lie on my single bed, flat like a piece of toast. I can't sleep. In the semi-dark, I stare up at the blind plaster eye in the middle of the ceiling, which stares back down at me, even though it can't see. There's no breeze. My white curtains are like gauze bandages, hanging limp, glimmering in the aura cast by the searchlight that illuminates this house at night. Or is there a moon? I fold back the sheet, get carefully up on silent bare feet in my nightgown, go to the window like a child I want to see. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow. The sky is clear, but hard to make out because of the searchlight. But yes, in the obscured sky a moon does float, newly, a wishing moon, a sliver of ancient rock, a goddess, a wink. The moon is a stone, and the sky is full of deadly hardware, but oh God, how beautiful anyway. I want Luke here so badly. I want to be held and told my name. I want to be valued in ways that I am not. I want to be more than valuable. I repeat my former name, remind myself of what I once could do, how others saw me. Because she's talking about how she wants to be a person again. She, later in the book, calls herself a two-legged womb because that's what women have become, valued only for their ability to procreate and to contribute to the propagation of society. And it makes it seem like the other alternatives are so, they have a choice, but the other alternatives are so awful or terrible that they make them choose to be breeders, but at the same time, it's still restricting. And actually in the book, they talk about the difference between the freedom to do things as opposed to the freedom from things. And it's very interesting how we revel in the freedom that we have to say what we think or the freedom to pursue happiness. And yet in the book, the new government tries to keep us safe and protect us. So then we are free from things, free from violence, things like that. And it was one of the first books I'd ever read that made me think about my position in society as a whole, and not just my position in my family or my position at school or where I stood with my friends. So it impacted me strongly to consider as a female, in my government, in the American society where I lived, my place in it, and to question how fixed that place was. Because I remember studying women's history and learning about Susan B. Anthony and thinking about, those women who really fought for our rights in the past, and it seemed so far removed and seemed like a fixed and permanent thing. And the book, The Handmaid's Tale, made me sort of question whether that was true.